Okay, good day to each and everyone. This is our lecture on Chem 1225 and our last topic sa ating first term, proximate and minerals analysis of animal species. Actually, I want to discuss this topic in general. However, we will discuss this our lecture in the context of animal feeds. Although it is applicable, the analysis, pero nagba-vary kasi yun sa mga matrix, okay? Mamaya we will see later na kung ano ba ang mga principles behind this, okay? Okay, animal feeds is the feeding process na pinapakain natin sa animals, okay, since this lecture deals with the context, and it is crucial for the profitable and sustainable farming. For example, sa baboy, malalaman ninyo, madi-distinguish ninyo, kasi minsan may nakikita ako na madi-distinguish ninyo when the pork is fed using animal feeds or yung mga hugas, yung mga natitirang kanin, base dun sa may kapal ng taba nila. Okay? However, that is not the main topic or discussion, but rather on the animal feeds. Okay? The proximate analysis can also be seen sa mga sako ng mga dog food natin. Kung bumibili kayo halimbawa sa mga supplies sa mga pet shop, kung titignan ninyo yung sako, you will see the proximate analysis that particular dog food or they are expressed as guaranteed analysis, but that is another term for proximate analysis. You will see, ayan, the component of our proximate analysis are crude protein, crude fat, crude fiber, moisture, and the mineral contents or the ash. Okay? Okay, this is the typical procedure for our proximate analysis. Okay, you have this food sample. First and foremost, before you dwell or proceed on the analysis of crude protein, ash, crude fiber, crude fat, you need to first dry the sample at 105 degrees Celsius for 2 hours, depende sa protocol ninyo and depende sa matrix, to determine the moisture content. Kasi you cannot magkakaroon kayo ng margin of error if you analyze directly yung samples natin without drying it. Okay? And then the moisture-free sample will be analyzed. Kuhain mo samples dyan. Crude protein, crude ash, fat-free residue, and crude fat. Sa may laboratory ninyo, napakita ko sa inyo once na nag-meet tayo on face-to-face na kumpleto kayo ng gamit sa may food chem lab. We have a Keldal there, analysis there, meron kayong furnace, meron kayong oven, meron din kayong analysis for crude fat. Sa yung crude fiber, I think nasa kabilang lab nyo yun. Pero what I mean is pag nag-thesis kayo, that is accessible, okay? But we will discuss this topic muna, what is written on the book. Okay? First analysis is the moisture. Ginawa natin to last time. Ayan, you have 2 grams of sample. Tinimbang nyo lang. Oven dry nyo for 105 degrees Celsius for 2 hours. Bakit 105? Because the boiling point of water is 100 degrees Celsius. Para ma-vaporize siya, 2 hours. And then, pull the sample in desiccator. Kasi pagka nilagay niyan sa air, mag-absorb yan ng moisture sa environment. Kaya yun ay desiccator. And then calculate for the percent moisture. Percent moisture is just a simple calculation. Karoon na kayo ng simple you need to compute for the water loss. Ayan, weighing by difference lang. Ah, wait lang. Weighing by difference lang yun. Ayaw mo punta sa previous slides. Wait lang, I'm having a technical error. Ayun, okay. And then sa may ash, meron din kayo furnace doon. You just weigh 2 grams of the sample, then incinerate the sample in a maple furnace at 600 degrees Celsius. Bakit 600 degrees Celsius? Because yan yung thermal decomposition, typical organic compounds natin in the food sample for 2 hours. And then compute for the percent ash. Ang calculation is just simple. You just weigh or determine the weight of the ash divided by the weight of the sample times 100. And then ayan. Significance of the ash, it is the total mineral content of the feedstock. Kasi nga naman, yung mga minerals natin, hindi naman siya basta-basta na-decompose at 600 degrees Celsius. Okay? Next natin is the crude protein. Ang typical na ginagamit dito is the Keldal analysis. It has 3 phases of analysis. First and foremost is the digestion, distillation, and titration. Okay? Ganito typical setup niyan. This is the conventional method, pero kasi ito kung meron kayong makina doon sa may laboratory ninyo that is automated. So madali na lang. Pero let's discuss the conventional way of Keldal analysis. First and foremost, ayan, you will put the sample in a Keldal flask and then ida-digest nyo siya. Bakit nyo ba siya ida-digest? Because you need to denature the protein in acidic medium. Usually, ginagamit dyan ay sulfuric acid. Then you will heat it. So, denaturation of proteins will occur. You will add heat and catalyst to catalyze the reaction para mas mabilis. And then the proteins, as you all know, it is composed of amino acids. Amino acids is composed of carboxyl group and amino group. And then that amino group, ito yung kanyang amino component na NH2 will be decomposed, magre-react yan sa ating sulfuric acid to form an ammonium sulfate. Okay? Ammonium sulfate, then upon completing the digestion, transfer nyo siya into a distillation setup. You will add a sodium hydroxide to increase the pH of the solution. And then i-heat ninyo to liberate the ammonia gas. Pero the ammonia, hindi niyan basta papawalan, but rather you need a receiving flask which contains a known of a concentration of a standard acid. I-immerse ninyo yung tubing dun sa may condenser para dito magmi-mix yung ammonia gas containing acid, and you all know that the ammonia is a base. Acid plus base, magkakaroon ng acid-base reaction, poproduce kayo ng salt. Depende yan. Ang typical na ginagamit is boric acid. Pero I think in our sample problem is hydrochloric acid. Okay? Pag hydrochloric yung acid ginamit ninyo, it will form an ammonium chloride. Okay? And then, of course, hindi naman lahat magre-react dun sa hydrochloric acid ninyo or boric acid ninyo. That's why you need to back titrate using the excess acid using a base. Ayan, dito tayo sa may third base, which is the titration. And you have an indicator here. I think pagka hydrochloric acid ang ginagamit is phenolphthalein. Pagka boric acid is Toshihiro indicator. Depende. Okay? You will titrate that and you calculate for the percent crude protein according to the equation. Ayan. Have the molarity of acid, the volume of acid, minus the molarity of the base. Ito yung ammonia natin. Ayan, ammonia. And then, hindi siya ammonia. Ito yung base na ginamit ninyo pala. I think sodium hydroxide is the common base. We will see later. And then the volume of the base, which is expressed to ml, and you have a multiplier na 1,000 here because the weight of the sample is expressed in grams. And you need a conversion factor na 1,000 kasi nga to convert it into milligrams since the volume is expressed in terms of milliliter. While the molarity of the acid is, ayan, molarity yung kanyang, ayan, times 14.01. This is the atomic weight of your nitrogen atom. Take a look at your periodic table times 100 to calculate for the crude protein. The crude protein, kaya nga siya sinabing crude, hindi yan yung actual protein. When we say crude protein, ito yung total nitrogenous component materials ng food natin. Contain urea, nucleic acids, amino sugars. So, ayun. Okay? And then next natin, ayan, you have this, there's a missing in the formula. Meron kaya pala kayong multiplier dito na factor. Multiplier, depende dun sa matrix or protein na gusto nyo i-analyze. Iba-iba kasi yan. For example, sa gatas, that is 6.38. Sa oats ay 5.83. Sa bigas ay 5.95. Soybean, coconut, and so on and so forth. Depende yan. Wala akong data ng meats, but you could analyze using, I think meron data ang Nestle dito sa mga factor. Okay? Mamaya, we will see a sample problem for this. Okay? And the next natin is the crude fat. Okay? It is a simple, actually waiting time lang ito. Hintayin nyo lang. Isa-set up nyo lang siya. You have this sample on the porous steam ball. Then gagamit kayo ng nonpolar solvents because why? Because fat is a nonpolar. Okay, fat is nonpolar. This is a solid. Actually, liquid pala. Depende sa component. Thus, to extract the fat, you need a nonpolar solvent. Ano ba yung mga nonpolar solvent natin? Those are hexane, pet ether, and diethyl ether. Sasalang nyo lang yan. You just wait 16 hours. And then after nun, after the 16 hours, the extraction of crude fat, i-vaporize nyo lang, i-heat nyo yung receiving flask ninyo at 100 degrees Celsius for 30 minutes to vaporize the excess solvent. Kukunin nyo, then titimbangin, then you can compute for the crude fat. Okay? Ayan. The crude fat is just you need to determine the weight of the extracted fat divided by the weight of the sample in terms of grams times 100. And then last natin, second to the last is the crude fiber. Crude fiber is just kung isa-summarize natin ito kasing protocol na is from the Association of Analytical Chemists. Pero ano yan, depende yan sa matrix ng sample ninyo. I suggest you take a look. I'm sure merong ang mga food tech professors ninyo, meron silang protocol nito because they are AUNQA accredited. Okay? So the crude fiber principles is just based on the acid hydrolysis and base hydrolysis of your food samples to extract the crude fiber. Crude fiber is the lignocellulosic component or the plant structural compounds. And say fiber, it aids the digestion of our body or in animals in the context of our topic. Okay? And then, but before that, syempre, meron ay matitirang dito, ash within the sample. So you need is the final step of your analysis of crude fiber. You need to determine the contents of the ash and then weighing by difference lang. Then you can now solve for the percent crude fiber times 100. And then last natin is the nitrogen-free extract. It's not an analyzed value, but rather a calculated value. These are dissoluble carbohydrates, which is sample of starch and sugar. You just less the 100 to the sum of the percent moisture, percent ash, or protein, crude fat, and crude fiber. Then you will have the percent nitrogen-free extract. Okay, ganun lang. And then when it comes to mineral analysis, ito kasi 'di ba kanina, yung ash na na-obtain niyo from the samples is samot-sari kasi minerals yun eh. Kasi ash yun. May contain copper, calcium, iron, magnesium, zinc, cobalt, and so forth. Now, for you to determine the specific value, that mineral, you will need to use AAS or atomic absorption spectroscopy to determine the concentration, particular mineral of interest that you want to analyze. Okay? Kaya lang you have this procedure, ayan, tri-ashing method, i-dissolve nyo sa acid, construct calibration curve, analyze the solutions, and then determine for the percent element. Let's say, you want to determine the percent calcium, ayan, percent copper, and so forth. Okay? Now, let's move on to the sample problem. But however, I will i-post ko muna because hahabang ating lecture video. This will be the part 1 muna. The part 2 will be discussed to follow. Okay?